Airship.
Hello and welcome to Airship 27 Productions podcast number 58. I'm your co-host, Chief Engineer Rob Davis, reporting from snowy mid-Missouri, virtually alongside my co-host, Captain Ron Fortier in sunny Colorado.
How, it is sunny. I will give you that. You can see over my
I
shoulder
checked
the
the
front yard.
forecast before I wrote this.
Right. It's definitely sunny, but boy, we got hit by the cold stuff this morning. It was 19 degrees out there when we went out this morning.
Oh,
Valerie,
you got 5 more degrees than we do this morning.
Hey, winter has come, and hey, Rob, great hat. I love the Santa look. This is, of course, you loyal airmen, our Christmas show. Oh, yes. And we had a few words with our dynamite, engineer, Sparky Brant Fowler, who assures us this episode will be out before old Jolly St. Nick comes flying down to your house. And I really hope you're all having a heck of a great holiday season, really. All right. Hey, look, I'm checking this out here. And as we begin the merriment, I've got the first joke this month. Yes. And I'm taking a page from your book, my friend. Okay. I decided I wanted to do a winter-themed joke. All right. Seasonal joke. So here we go. All right. Joe and Harry are really huge Boston Bruins fans. And, comes fall and the start of winter, they can't wait for the season to start. And sure enough, they go to Boston, they get into their season ticket seats, and they have B1 and B2 in one of the up front rows. And as they watch the game, Joe's sitting in B2 and he looks over and B3 is empty. And then there are people in B4 and B5. Okay. Next home game, they go back, they sit down, and B3 is still empty. Now, this goes on all the way to the Christmas shutdown, when they have the holiday break. And he's talking to, his buddy, Harry, and he says, if that seat hasn't been sold, maybe we could get it from one of our friends. So on the way out that night, they stop at the ticket counter, and they inquire about B3. And the girl looks at the record and says, oh, no, that's a season ticket. That was bought. We can't let you have that. Okay, they shrug. Off they go for the Christmas and New Year's season. And then comes the first game at the start of the new year, home game. And they're back in their seats. And as they're sitting there waiting, in walks this little old man, and goes by them and sits in B3. And he puts his hands up and he's sitting there looking really, really angry. So Joe can't take it, and he turns around and goes, excuse me, sir. He says, can I ask? He goes, what? He goes, is that your season seat? He says, yeah. So how come you weren't here the first half of the season? My wife bought it for me. She gave it to me as a Christmas gift.
No wonder he's mad. He missed half the season. In perfect seats.
What a great gift.
Oh, lovely. Oh, that was good. I did not see that coming at all. That's funny.
All right.
Oh man.
Oh God. Hilarious. Fun stuff. All right. Hey, we got some a little special news that we want to cover. I'm going to let Rob take off with it. Read the first agenda
read the first thing.
Go right ahead.
All right. Yahoo Pulp Factory Group is gone.
Bye.
Although it did not come as much of a surprise to lots of people, earlier this week, the people in charge of the Yahoo board groups removed the new topic feature on the Pulp Factory messaging boards, thus effectively shutting down all communications between its members. And this comes after they had announced there would be no major changes. I don't know why this minor change, but I don't know. So left with nowhere online for the Pulp Factory members to meet and share news and ideas, we opted to create a brand new group page on Facebook called the Pulp Factory Group and invite all members of the group to sign on the original Yahoo group to sign on to that page. And from this moment forward, it will be our gathering place from now on. We realize it is going to be difficult for a few people. Several of the members do not belong to Facebook and have no intentions of signing. I get that.
Yep.
No, we here at Airship 27 will continue to share our goings on via Ron's regular update newsletter, and we suggest those of you receiving these updates feel free to share them with all our new Pulp colleagues. Hopefully, this will only be a slight bump in the road, and eventually, the Pulp Factory Group Facebook page will become a center of continued discussion and news. And that includes all news concerning the nomination of next year's Pulp Factory Awards, which, as we've mentioned previously, Radio Archives will be sponsoring from now on. Thank you, Radio Archives.
Amen. And hey, I want to say, I got that group going yesterday. The new Pulp Factory group page. It is a group page on Facebook. So if you are on Facebook, if you were a member of the old Yahoo boards, please, find the page, and basically it's a private group, and that's the way it works. So you basically get on by either an invitation from yours truly or another member of the group, or you can put in a request, which comes to my email, and I just simply go on and welcome you aboard. So I want to tell you, Rob, as of this afternoon, we have 74 members.
Well, that we're well on the way to getting a good number of them on there. Then that's good. That's good.
Right. Yeah. The word is slowly going out, and so those of you listening to this podcast, if you haven't seen it for some vague reason, you haven't been on Facebook because you've been out Christmas shopping and doing all that fun stuff. Please come and join us, okay? I think when the board shut down, when the Yahoo board shut down, we were almost at 170 members, Rob. We had a good
there
group.
weren't that many actively involved, but I'm sure they were checking things out. There's we call it on the old groups that I used to be on way back in the 90s. We called those lurkers. They just lurk.
Right.
They're on the edges. Oh, there's something interesting over there. Let me see.
Well, the thing with this is it's also, you have to look at things, and you try to do when things go a little, wacky, in your life, you have to look at it and see, well, is there an opportunity here? And as frustrating as it was for us to have Yahoo pull the rug out from under us, thank you, and Merry Christmas to you too. I kind of thought to myself, you know what? There are probably a lot of people that we're all connected with on Facebook who were never members, and this is a golden opportunity to reach out to them as well. So that's what's been happening. We've, like today, for example, I'm digging into my brain, my files and whatever, and trying to find all those people, Rob, that you and I have had the good fortune to meet and know over the last few years at Pulp Fest and Windy City, who might not, be on board. Right. And so I've actually reached out to them. And we've gotten, in the last couple of days, we've had Doug Ellis join the group.
Oh, cool.
The main promoter of Windy City. I'm thrilled. Chuck Dixon's on board. And
cool.
Chuck's been writing a lot of pulp novels on Amazon. He's got a great couple of series, and he's one of the masters of action adventure writing. Mark Wheatley, the artist, another good friend of ours and whatever. Christopher Paul Carey, the guy who is now in charge of ERP, Edgar Rice Burroughs Incorporated.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and they're doing some fantastic stuff.
So
like I said, the group is alive, it's active. Kind of hoping that maybe even by the end of the day, we'll be close to 100 members. And hey, again, final word of mouth is what spreads faster than any kind of postings we can do. So if you're listening to this show and you are an active pulp writer, editor, publisher, or even fan, and you want to join a really, really fun group of people, come on over. We'd love to help you.
Yep, please.
Yes. All right. So let me do a little segue follow-up about Radio Archives.
Mm-hmm.
As we have been announcing the last few episodes, they have still maintained their release of one Airship audio title every Friday. So basically, since our last show, Radio Archives has continued that process. and released in the last 5 weeks were The Dead Sheriff, Volume 2, Cannibals and Bloodsuckers,
Yep.
The Dead Sheriff, Volume 3, Holster Full of Death, The Moon Man, Volume 2, Scimitar, and finally, just last Friday, Young Nemo and the Black Knights. So
Yep.
if you're into audiobooks, believe me, these are the best on the market. Tom Brown has collected a really talented group of readers, and I mean, we know the digital stuff is awesome and very easy to get. But man, if you've never gotten the disc sets, they're beautiful. They're well designed. They do a great job with them, and they're a lot of fun to have. So check them out. Tell them that Rob and Ron sent you. There you go. All right, buddy.
Okay, next.
Yep.
Oh, slow year comes to a close. As we've been saying all year, production-wise, things moved at a snail's pace during the most of 2019. Publishing is never a sure thing, and books are only released after a lot of things come together in just the right way. Happily, December saw us finally putting together several projects, and it appears we will certainly be going out on a hugely positive note, which we will get to in a moment.
Yep.
Stand by.
Oh, yep.
Last January, we kicked off the year with a retrospective show in looking back on all the titles we'd put out in 2018. That show was a big hit with all you loyal airmen, so we've decided to do it again next month, January 2020. Lost my spot. Meaning our 2020th show, 2020 show first. Episode number 59 will be primarily focused in two directions. One, remembering the titles we did get out this year, and second, a peek at what's in store for all you loyal airmen in the months ahead. Expect it to be our usual fun zaniness. Zaniness?
Yeah.
What kind of zaniness do we do?
Oh my God in heaven, jeez! Some of the stuff that comes out on this show, trust me, you people listening to us and watch us, and you realize we have this agenda thing that we use as a guide, but we get so often derailed. It's just one of those things. And you know what? I want to do that right now. I have to, okay? Because I got a secret Santa, Rob.
Oh
right?
no.
Oh no, I do. I want to give him kudos, but I want to show off. All right. Several years back, all right, we were fortunate enough to have a young writer named Michael Housel come to Airship 27.
Uh-huh.
And he had this idea for a character called the Persona. We did this novel. And after that, basically, he went out and did some other stuff for us and did another Persona novel.
Right.
He's a great guy. He's very supportive of the company and everything else. So I want to think it was 3 Christmases ago, he sends me this huge package, him and his wife, Merry Christmas. So I open it up, and it was a put together model kit of King Kong fighting a dinosaur.
Oh, he loves you. He knows you love King Kong.
Exactly. Okay. So I was like psyched and everything else. And I wrote him back and I said, gee, Michael, I said, this is great, but you really don't have to do this. Please. Okay. I mean, it's just when it's the old gig about when people give you a gift, you all of a sudden feel obligated, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so Michael eventually got back to me and said, well, you know what? He said, my wife and I don't have any children. And we get into the spirit of things. And he says, I can't thank you enough for helping support my writing and whatever. So, Ron, just say thank you and enjoy it in the spirit of the holidays. So, okay, I thank you. Last year comes, and I get another big package from Michael Housel. All right. And he's honestly, talk about a generous soul. You ready for this one this time? I open it up, and it's a framed montage of class of great Boston Red Sox players. Again, with their autographs and everything. All right. Again, wow. I'm a huge Red Sox fan, as you know. Okay. So sure enough, about 3 or 4 days ago, go to the mailbox, and there's a giant package from Michael and his wife. And I went, oh boy, what am I getting now? All right. You're going to love this. I pulled these out of my box, and Michael already knows. Valerie was standing there, and she's like slapping me on the shoulder. You're so spoiled, Fortier. You're just so spoiled. I got toys, Rob. I got toys. he sent me these 2 limited edition, all right, statues of Black Adam.
Yeah.
And get ready. Oh, this thing.
Shazam.
Captain Marvel Shazam.
The original Captain Marvel,
And,
yeah.
and he's almost, if you look at it real close, it's almost like the Alex Ross
Yeah.
because Ross did a giant Shazam book a few years back for DC
Yep.
Comics.
Yeah,
And
I remember that. Yeah.
it's very much like the model. But anyways, so I got new toys in my office. They've got a place of honor on my shelf, and there was no way I was going to do this episode without tipping my hat to Michael and saying, Michael, love you dearly. You're a good pal. Thanks so much. And it's just too much fun. I hope you have.
Cheers.
Yep. Hey, scold. There you go. All right. So let's get back to that. Released since our last show. All right, don't look now, but we actually got 3 books out in the past 2 weeks. It was easily our best 2 weeks of the year. We started it off with my life in comics, my memoir book about my nearly 50 years as a comic book writer, with Rob taking on the editing and design chores, and you did a fantastic job, Rob. Friends of mine who picked up the book loved those cartoon illustrations and everything. All right, early sales seem to be good, seem to be brisk, and hey, for those of you who haven't yet picked it up for Christmas, there it is. Look who's on the cover. It's promotion time.
Here's
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Ron's favorite illustration from the book.
Check it out. Lone Ranger and Tano and the Green Hornet and Kato. That's a great piece. Oh, I love that.
Fun. Lots of fun to do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, color it up. Make it print at cons.
I probably will before the next Planet Comic-Con. I may do that in color.
Be awesome. That would be great. All right. So anyways, following the memoirs book, all right, we followed that up with Sinbad, The New Voyages, Volume 6, which featured a very long and enjoyable novella by Nancy Hansen and a short story by Greg Hatcher. The illustrations in the volume were by Rob and Yehus Rodriguez, and Adam Shaw provided a really dynamite cover for this issue. As all of you know, this series was inspired by those classic fantasy films of Ray Harryhausen. And I think he did like 3 or 4 of those in his career. And there were always different people playing Sinbad. John Philip Law played one. John Wayne's son, his oldest son, was a Pat Wayne, did one.
Yeah. Yeah, I seem to remember that. Yeah.
That was the one that had the classic joke that Derek Ferguson still to this day quotes at conventions and whatever. All right, put your trust in Allah, but tie up your camel. Okay. Every time he says,
good. I like that.
All right,
I think I'm going to use that.
And lastly, after tackling a really Herculean task of assembly, we finally released The Legend of Robin Hood.
Well, I tell you.
It's a giant 660-page omnibus edition. It features all 4 of writer Ian Watson's amazing Robin Hood saga, to include the short final tale, The Death of Robin Hood, which has up until now only appeared as a Kindle-only edition. All right. So now the omnibus obviously will not be available on Kindle because everything else is, all 4 books and the short story. So it didn't make sense to put it on Kindle at all. All right. The omnibus does contain Rob's, I think it's more than 50 black and I was trying to get an accurate count, but in my head, I know
it's 4 times 9. So, I think, but plus there's several extras in there. So you're probably right it's probably close to 50, maybe a few more than that. Yeah.
Right. And then Rob delivered a great new cover, which I absolutely love. It features Robin and May Marian on it. All right. The whole book, I think, is a treasure. And if you're looking for something for Christmas, Loyal Airmen, and you have friends who are into Robin Hood and that kind of, mythological hero and fantasy, Ian's new take on this series, Bald Me and Raw. That's how thick.
It's going to be about that thick.
Yeah, yeah.
It's going to be big.
Let
But
me
it's got five. But it's got 5 books in it essentially. You
That's
know,
it.
so all in one. It's $24.99, I believe, is what it is on Amazon.
Which is again a bargain. Which is a
Right.
great bargain, as opposed to buying them individually.
Each of the books would be $16.99 each on Amazon. You
There
know,
you go.
so there you go. I mean, it is a bargain, definitely.
Yep. Right. So again, Ian had suggested, we give that some thought a while back, and I'm glad he did. But I tip my hat to Rob, who basically really did a lot of work.
Oh my God. I don't want to do another book like this ever again. Legends of New Pulp was bad, but this one was just as bad because every time I'd make a change, it's like squeezing a balloon. You know those balloons they make animals out of, those real long ones.
Yeah.
Squeeze it here. Where's the air go? Over here.
Right.
So when you squeeze here, the air goes over here. You squeeze in the middle, it goes both ways. That's how that book was.
Oh.
Because I was moving, I was making corrections and moving 2 or 3 letters, and boom, everything had moved like a whole page.
Well, that's that joke. Yeah, it's a joke, right? One step forward, 2 steps back.
It was. Yeah. So I'm glad it's done, and I'm very proud of it. I really that's why I spent so much time on it. If it had been any other book, I don't know if I'd have spent that much time on it, because it was driving me crazy, crazier than I am already.
Well, we're repeating ourselves here, but I think we have to. Ian is a bloody genius. He really is. And the stuff he writes is amazing. And he has been in every single one of our Sherlock Holmes anthologies. Every single one, he's had a story in there.
Yep.
Right. And I'm trying to think. We're getting ready to put out volume 15 to start of next year. Okay.
Yeah.
So and he's got stories for 16, 17, and now 18. All right. And okay. So and they're brilliant. They're all brilliant. They're great Sherlock Holmes stories. But to be quite frank and honest, okay, this Robin Hood retelling was just priceless to me, because what he did was he took all the classic myths of Robin Hood and basically retells them, but against an historical background that's accurate. The footnotes alone in this thing, you could teach a class. That's what I've said to people. You could teach a class on historical London of that period with his footnotes.
Those footnotes are part of what drove me crazy, because if you move one line, then that footnote jumps to the next page.
Right.
And then, of course, when it does that, everything that was in the footnote jumps off the page. So it starts doing this.
I was getting emails from Robin over the past few weeks that would read like this: I got it. Then I get another email. I don't got it. And then I got it. I don't got it.
It's done though. It's done. It's off to Amazon, and it passed through with flying colors the last time.
It's a great book. It's a great book, and it's
part of my problem too was that I would be going through the book looking for formatting errors, and a phrase would pop up, and I go, oh, that's a great sequence. I want to reread that. So I'd sit and reread the whole, like 5 or 6 pages, and then I'd start looking for formatting problems again. So that's part of why it took so long, because I love this. I love what he's written. I've always liked Robin Hood, but this his retelling is just, it's amazing. It's
hot. Yeah, again, it's like we say.
It's hard to explain how amazing
it is. It's fresh. It's fresh.
Yeah.
And it gives lie to all those people who think, like, they take iconic characters, Robin. You and I have seen people do this and go, oh, I could never write, a Superman story. It's been done to death. Or I can never write this story. And you know what? That's bull. Okay. The truth of the matter is, you have to find a new handle. You have to find a new hook. You have to find a fresher way. And they're out there. Okay.
Yeah.
It's imaginative writer, artist, creators, all right, that's their challenge, all right? And Ian took a character that you and I, when you put this up on Facebook this week, when it was finally released, I went there to see it, to find, to make sure it was there before I sent out my press release. And what do you think I pulled up? I pulled up like 20 different Robin Hood books. If it's just that few, I stopped going through all of them, right? But I mean, Robin Hood's been done to death, just like Tarzan has, just like Sherlock Holmes, just like all the others, all right? So you're at that, right, and that's my argument. You're at that point when people say, well, there's nothing new to say. Well, yeah, there is in how you say it and how you do it. And Ian's taken the historical background and infusing that with the myth is what made his retelling so exciting and fresh and a joy to read. I mean, honest, Rob, I can see myself and say like a year, 2 years down the line sitting there, and I'm going to have a copy of this for myself on my own library shelf.
Oh yeah, I'm getting one too.
I can see someday saying, you know what, and picking it up off the shelf and rereading the whole saga all over again. It's that good.
Yeah, it is that good. Yeah, there's not many books I'll read a second time because I'll go, I read this once. Yeah, I know what's going to happen next. But in this one, I go, I know what's going to happen next, but boy, it's fun.
So go, Ian, go. All right. Your turn with what's coming next.
What's coming next? Okay, at present, we do have 2 titles that are nearly complete. There is Quatermain, The New Adventures Volume 5, with 2 short stories by Dwayne Dowers and Wayne Carey, along with a novella by Thomas Kent Miller. All the interior art is by Clayton Hinkle, and and Ted Hammond produced a fantastic cover. All we're waiting on is for writer Miller to finish his touch-up. He's looking over the galley looking for corrections. Sadly, he got a bad case of the flu last week, and it has set him back. 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
There you go.
Of the 2 titles, this one has the best chance of being released before New Year. Then there's The Wraith, the superhero anthology based on the character created by Frank Dershel, and created by Frank Dershel is a complete story featuring such writers as Bobby Nash, Greg Gick, Eric Franklin, and Adam Orovec. Adam Shaw turned in a truly awesome cover, and interior illustrator Chris Nye has only 1 remaining illustration to finish the artwork. Could this volume be out before New Year's? Could be, as Bugs Bunny says. It is a possibility, but only if all proofreading is accomplished within a few days. Most likely it will be our first release of 2020. Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
it could come out right after Christmas. So if everything comes in.
Right. So it would be a 2019 book. But I'm sure all you loyal airmen understand, okay? There were projects on our tables as we went through November. December came along, and Rob and I, like every one of you out there, have other obligations, family obligations. It is the holiday season. And so as we got further and further into this particular month, I even wondered if we'd have a chance to do this podcast because we were so busy trying to get out those last few books. Again, thanks to Brant Fowler for, basically, we wouldn't have done this if it hadn't been able to come out before Christmas, because it would have been pointless to do a Christmas podcast the week after Christmas. It's like my joke with the season thing, okay? But no, Brant turned around and God bless him said, no, I will have this out by the 23rd at least. So thank you. Okay. And that's why you loyal airmen are seeing Rob with the hat, and we're in the spirit of things, okay?
Right.
That follows through with these other books that were coming together, all right? It was back and forth between the Wraith and Quatermain all the time, but now we have everything for Quatermain. All we need is Thomas Miller's final, mistakes and corrections sent to Rob.
And I got a note from him just before the podcast, got an email from him. He said, another hour or 2, and then I'll have it done. So I sent him back an email, said, nope, too late. Then I went down a couple of lines. I said, no problem. I'm busy. I probably can't get to this till this evening anyway, whenever you can get it done.
Yeah.
So
right. if nothing else, because Thomas really, really felt bad because he understood where we were at. The other guys, had turned in their stuff, and he knew, that we were chomping to get this book out. And he really, really felt bad. And then, like I said, to find out he'd been sick, I'm sorry. Okay. Hey, your health comes first. Okay. That's what it's crazy to put other stuff ahead of yourself and just make yourself sicker. All right. We're going into the holiday season. The last thing I want for Thomas Miller is to be sick. I want him to get over this stupid bug and by the time Christmas is here, to be in good spirits and good health to enjoy it with his friends and family. All right. If the book gets out, that's great. If it doesn't, it's like, hey, we'll come back after the
It'll be the
start of the
first
year.
one of next year. So
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And that's the same thing with the rate. Okay. The rates all assembled. Chris and I, again, have been really working like a fiend to get the last 3 illustrations out. He got illustrations, 10 and 11
Yeah.
within a week, and now he's working on 12, the last illustration of the book. As our process is, once he turns that in, Rob assembles the entire book and then sends it off to each writer to do a final read-through proof or whatever of the
Right.
book before
Right.
we say it's okay to go out. Again, Adam Shaw's already done the cover. Rob did the back cover. But again, I don't want to pressure Rob or anybody else here as we get into the holiday seasons. Okay, if the book's ready to go, and Rob's celebrating with his family, then celebrate with your family. And like I said, next couple days will come, New Year will come, and it'll be the first book of 2020, which is a great book and a nice way to kick off the season. So okay, so that's what's hanging out there. There's a possibility you may see it before the end of the year, a possibility not, but that's how the situation goes. So further down the line, we just got in the 4th and last story for the next Bass Reeves Frontier Marshal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
look for that in early 2020. This volume will feature stories by Mel Odom, Terry Alexander, Derek Ferguson, and yours truly. All right. For
Cool.
this, yeah, I love the character, so it was a blast for me to get back and do that story. Again, I've read Derek's story and Terry's; they're great. I started reading and editing Mel's, which I just got in yesterday, and Mel's a great Western writer. He really is. He has a feel for the genre. So it looks like another solid Bass Reeves book. At the same time, I'm trying. Rob's done all the illustrations for the first 3 volumes, but volume 4 is going to be illustrated by our good buddy and artist Howard Simpson. All right. And the reasoning because of that is Howard's father is a huge Bass Reeves fan. All right. And so Howard came to us and basically said, is there any way I can illustrate that volume for you guys? And you know what? Rob's working on Nancy Hansen's newest Jezebel Johnson book right now. That's his next illustration project.
Well, and
Plus,
I illustrated a whole bunch of our other books this year.
so what I mean,
We're having trouble getting illustrators. So why would we turn down somebody who says, I want to do this book?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
so
There you
right.
go.
So right, and that's what we're getting at. So we said to Howard, you're more than welcome, my friend. And just so you know, Rob, he is actually doing the last few illustrations for the second Bulldog Drummond book.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Right, which we launched, I think, last year. Ian Watson wrote the first one and did the second one, which is a collection of short Bulldog Drummond stories that are a lot of fun. And Howard did the illustrations for volume 1. And as I say, he notified me today on Facebook that he's almost done with those. So once those get done, I'm going to look around and see who we can nab to do the cover. I may still hit you up to do the cover for Bass Reeves. Again,
okay.
Howard will do the interiors, but I've got an idea for the cover that I will run by you later on. And I love the last one you did with him on
I
horseback.
had a lot of fun doing that one. Yeah.
So,
and I riding across the range after some bad guy. Yeah.
I wanted to bring this up because it's been on Facebook for a while. I don't know if you saw this or not, Rob, but a small independent company has done a new Bass Reeves movie.
Yeah, I heard something about that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I guess they debuted it at the Bass Reeves Days in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right? That's an annual event now, which I was only made aware of thanks to our good friend and writer, Terry Alexander, who lives in Oklahoma. All right. Mm-hmm. And Terry went to this year's event. It's like a week-long thing of fans of Westerns and Oklahoma history and whatever, and centered primarily on the life and exploits of the legendary Bass Reeves, an honest to goodness, martial and Western hero. So this company purposely went there to this event and debuted the film there. I believe you can download it streaming online. And the reason I know that is because Derek Ferguson posted a review a few days ago, and
Oh,
Derek
check
is one
that
of the
out.
best movie reviewers I know. All right, hands down. He's a straight shooter when it comes to
Yep.
telling what's good or what's bad about a film. He knows films inside out. So I
Yep.
was really intrigued that he had done this and wondering how he got to see it because he's from Brooklyn. All right, and because I know, and that's what I hate about independent films. They could be stellar and superbly well made, but they have poor distribution
Yeah.
because the big companies eat up all the theater distribution. And there's no room left for these little guys who have to spend an arm and a leg to get their films out for people to look at them. All right. So, anyways, apparently Derek downloaded a streaming version from wherever it was available online. I think New Line Cinema is one of the people offering it. And so got to see it and wrote a really good review, whereby he said, uh, for whatever flaws it has, all right, the
Independent films are going to have some flaws. Yeah.
right, but for whatever flaws it has, um, the young actor playing Bass Reeves is exceptional in the role. He's really good. He fits it extremely well. And I'm going to draw a blank so you can help me out here. Who who is the actor who played Ron Perlman?
Ron Perlman. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, here's what they did in the storyline. I can give this away. It's not a spoiler. You're going to see his name on the credits. Okay. Basically, the film starts off with Bass going after Ron Perlman, who was an outlaw, right? Who's committed some ridiculous petty thievery or whatever, right? And he catches him and he brings him back to Fort Smith and gives him to Judge Parker. All right. That's in the film.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Well, later on, he has to go after the real villain of the piece, this really sadistic, murderous, cunning outlaw and his gang, right? And
Right.
as we all know in the Bass Reeves stories, Reeves always went out with a posse man, somebody who worked with him. Well, supposedly Parker lets Perlman go to act as Bass Reeves' guide. And Ferguson says there's a really good chemistry between the two actors, so
Wow.
that Perlman ends up being this comic sidekick who's cynical and this and that and whatever, blah blah blah. And so Derek gave it a thumbs up, so that it's worth finding and seeing.
Ah,
So
sounds like an interesting story
I'm
too.
putting it on my Christmas wish list, guys. I'm hoping that New Line eventually puts out a DVD version or something, because I would really like to get a copy and see it for myself. But
Wow.
hey, it's a little step forward until eventually somebody at Hollywood wises up and gives us a real big budget version of This Guy's Life, which we've all been waiting for all along. Okay, so I talked about other things coming down the pike. Nancy Hansen's new book, which Rob has and is illustrating, is called Sisters of Vengeance. It's a great read. It's an awesome read. We've actually assembled 4 stories for the next volume of The Purple Scar.
Hmm.
Which again, the horrific Avenger, more terror than it is Avenger, but that's how unique this character is. And at the same time, oh God, we have like a half a dozen novels ready to go of every genre you can think of. We've got anthologies up the wazoo ready to fly, and all that's holding them back, as always, is we need artists, we need illustrators. So again, all you loyal airmen, if you have friends or whatever, just this afternoon, our good buddy Jamie Ramos sent a guy named Julian Polon, Polon, who's an illustrator. He contacted me by email, wanted to know what we did, how we did it, and whatever. And I explained it to him and basically said, send me some samples of your work. I'd love to look at it. So fingers crossed, maybe we picked up another artist and some of those books might get put into production. But again, that's what the holdup is always. Okay, and just to show you, after a slow period for ourselves, I mentioned the fact that I had gotten Mel Odom's Bass Reeves story over the weekend. Then yesterday, Chuck Miller sent me the latest Bay Phantom novel. Okay. And then just 10 minutes before going on air, Rob,
Oh
R.A.
no.
R.A. Jones sent me Savage Fury, the next Jason Man Killer Western.
Man.
So here we go again. Ron's got his writing and editing chores to do in and out of the holidays as best we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a never ending battle.
No.
Hey, actually, this is all fun. This is a lot of fun. We're both. I'm semi-retired. Ron's retired. This is something we keep busy with, and as I always say, if you stop moving, the Grim Reaper catches up with you. Well, I don't. He's got no chance catching us at the moment.
we don't have time for him. It's the bottom. I mean, that's
No.
the. If you notice the trailers, and that's what makes me laugh. If you've noticed the trailers for the new James Bond movie that are being shown now, and you see what the title is. No Time to Die. That's you and me, buddy.
Just that's it, man. That is it.
Too busy. No time. All right. So that pretty much wraps up our agenda for this Christmas episode of 2019. Is there anything else you want to talk about, buddy? Anything you want to bring up at all?
No, I can't think of anything at the moment. You came up with this pretty quickly, and I really haven't. I've been so busy, I hadn't had time to think of anything else. I did find a joke though.
All right.
So it's my turn.
Lay it on.
As usual, this is it's appropriate to the season. All right. On Christmas Eve, a long time ago, Santa was getting ready for his annual journey. But this year there were many problems. 4 of the elder elves became ill, and the younger, more inexperienced elves did not produce the toys as quickly. So Santa started to worry that he would not be ready on time. Then Mrs. Claus tells him that her mother is visiting. This makes Santa Claus stressed even more. Mother-in-law's coming. When he begins to gather reindeer for a sleigh, he discovers that 3 of them are ready to give birth, and 2 have jumped over the fence. The elves begin loading the sleigh, and one of the boards of the sled breaks off, and the bag of toys falls to the ground, dispersing the toys all around. It goes without saying that Santa was not exactly in the best state of mind and slightly triggered. Then the doorbell rings, and Santa hits to the door and expects another problem. He opens the door, and there is a little angel with a big Christmas tree brought to cheer up Santa. The angel says in a loving tone, "Merry Christmas, Santa. Is it not a beautiful day today? I have a big, beautiful tree for you. Is it not a beautiful tree? Where do you want me to put it?" And so began the tradition of the angel on top of the Christmas tree. Looking through the jokes, I'm seeing joking, and then they look funny. But this one, I read to the bottom, and I fell over laughing. I go, "That's it, that's the one."
All right. Oh no, that's great. Both of us feel the same way. When I'm hunting up jokes, the thing I find all the time is puns. I see there's a million puns.
Yeah,
but
there are.
It's not a joke.
We want a joke. We want a story joke.
A story. Yeah. I like that one.
Now you have one to share.
Yes, we both do. And so do all you loyal airmen, including our good buddy Micah Harris. All right, so enjoy. I guess that's pretty much it. It's going to be a short episode.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's fine. Okay. If you've had a good time and you enjoy spending some of that cheer with me and Rob, we can't thank you enough for that. And please tell your friends about the show. The more the merrier, right? This is what this is all about. Rob and I love what we do. We have a blast doing it, and we meet some amazing, truly great people. Like I said, come back in January because we're going to talk about what we did this year, some of the books we put out, some of the highlights, but we're also going to look ahead and maybe do a little talking about Windy City and some other things that we might have.
I can't wait for 2020. I'm looking forward to Planet Comic-Con and then Windy City. I always have a lot of fun at both those shows. Yep. Can't wait. I'm
Trust
really
me,
looking forward to
as
it.
busy as my own schedule was this year, it looks like next year is going to be a repeat. So I'm gonna get as much rest as I can during the holidays, and just relax, watch a few movies, and share some fun with the family and friends. And hey, that's what we wish all you loyal airmen. Okay, joyous, happy, Merry Christmas, and
Ho,
happy
ho,
holidays,
ho.
whichever way you celebrate them. We wish you nothing but the best and blessings on you and your family. Thanks for stopping by. Rob, go ahead and sign us out, buddy.
All right, this is Chief Engineer Rob Davis signing off.
And Captain Ron says, as always, down ship.
This has been a Gonzo Goose production.